Welcome to Bar City, episode 51. I'm Eric.
I'm Kevin.
So, a little bit of a thing. We cannot do videos for the time being. So, all you're going to get on YouTube is just the audio. No, none of our little avatars. And Kevin is all congested. So, that's why he sounds weird.
Yep.
But other than that, we're still in business.
Yep.
Oh. So, how's your weekend been?
Um, it's been okay. Been I haven't really done much.
Yeah.
After I got off work yesterday, I mostly slept because I was so tired.
Yeah, I bet.
And today I hadn't really done a whole lot. So,
Yeah. I've just been chilling. I've either been playing Baldur's Gate 3 or watching anime or YouTube videos for the most part and playing on my phone.
yeah.
I've just, like always, unless there's something I absolutely have to, I have a lazy weekend.
Yeah, for people who didn't get hit with the snowstorm, I know it went mostly across on the western side of the US, but western slash southern side, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not western side, eastern side. Geez, I don't know my east from west. I need to go back to the Boy Scouts apparently.
uh,
But yeah, it's amazing how much like better my car, because like my parking lot where my apartment is like builds up with snow really bad, and they don't even attempt to plow it or anything. Uh, and so it's basically like a trap for snow and ice every time it snows, and then it freezes overnight and it turns into icy snow, and then
yeah.
you wind up getting stuck in it. So, and I my car I used to have, I when it didn't take much snow either. Like once that snow would freeze over, I was not getting out of it until it melted. I have literally been stuck in the snow in my parking lot, like when a tiny little patch was just like behind me and it still wouldn't go out. But those
uh,
tires were horrible. But it's amazing how much this car has handled it so much better. I did get stuck. Well, stuck, not so much. It was really more like I had trouble getting out of my little spot because I made the mistake of going to the opposite side of the parking lot because I thought it would actually be easier to get out that way, but it actually wound up being harder. And
uh,
so I had to keep doing this back up, forward thing. And then I had to get out and kind of clear up a small path, though it took forever. And I literally had to drive back to the opposite side of the parking lot because I could not get through literally the road was right next to me and I couldn't get out to it. And so I had to back up and go to the opposite side of the parking lot, then go over there out to the tiny little thin road next to me and then get onto the main road. Once I got on the main road, I was fine because they were all cleared off and pretty good. So I just needed to get to that road.
yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a pain getting in and out of this parking lot. I remember when I used to live in Iowa, the parking lot, the apartments I lived at there, they had it plowed, the thing plowed before I even got out to my car in the morning. They were on top of it. So, but they're used to snow there. I guess here in Arkansas, they're not used to snow, and the owners here have never even have attempted to plow the parking lot or anything. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my little snow story, the snow adventures of Kevin this
Yeah.
weekend slash week.
I, I love the way my house is with the gutters and shit because
Yeah,
like when I went to open my door the next morning after it started snowing, um, I opened the door and there was just enough space for my door to barely, my storm door to barely like scrape against the massive pile of snow right in
yeah.
front of my door. I
Oh
stepped down, I'm
wow.
like, oh, this is nice. And I was like, oh, and so I was able to like walk around the edge of my house where there was no snow and before, like, at least a little bit, almost. I think I had like 6, 7 steps in the snow before I get to my car,
Oh wow.
just the way my house is shaped.
Yeah.
So like, wow, that's beneficial.
Yeah, it's definitely easier with a house getting out of it. Plus you can always, shovel some of it yourself because you only have a
I
path of,
didn't need to because the
yeah.
with the fact that I got home
Yeah.
when it was just starting and it hadn't like piled up yet.
Yeah.
The car I managed to be able to pull the car in a spot. So that by the time when I did come out the next day, that was around the car was no snow because it was all on top of the car.
Yeah.
And we had just put brand new all season tires on that car, and with it being front wheel drive, I just yeeted backwards
Yeah.
because it was on a dry spot, no snow, nothing to slide it, and so I had all that traction to push through the snow that was behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, the back tires on my car are newer. I think they're all season, are newer than the front tires. That was just the way it was when I got it. And so I did notice, yeah, my front tires, there was a couple of parts where the snow was really slushy and icy when I would make a turn. They would slip a little bit. Then once it like got to the part where it was hitting the back part of my tires, then that would stop. Like so the front tires were slipping a little bit, but the back tires were not. So but that was only in a couple of spots on the road. That wasn't
Yeah,
like really only I think only two spots where that happened. So
yeah.
and of
This
course that
year
was
wasn't
also at
as
12:30 in the morning too when the
yeah.
road is like really icy and hard and frozen. So
Yeah, that the last snow slash ice storm we had come, like a little tiny ice storm we had come through here.
yeah.
That was a worry of mine because of working overnights.
Yeah.
But like also this time I was smart and I had in my with my windshield wipers we bought windshield wiper fluid that also has de-icer in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I used it up during the summer and since it only had like a month before winter was going to hit, I went ahead and put windshield wiper fluid with de-icer in it
Yeah.
in. So,
My car actually defrosts itself very well, actually. It
well,
really only takes like a minute or two, and it's like the windows are all defrosted and I can see really well. So
well
that's
that
really nice. Yeah.
that couple winters ago when we had all that freezing rain, the problem was
Yeah.
is the windshield would, my defroster kept the windshield from icing over
Yeah.
front and back, but my wiper blades were freezing over,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
trying to get rid of the rain, trying to, so it started making it hard to see with the freezing rain hitting the windshield. So this time I was like, just in case, I'm getting put one with de-icer in it. That way I can just spray the de-icer every once in a while and melt off some of that ice and keep the blades good. Yeah, like if there was antifreeze wiper blades, I would have had no problem. A couple years ago,
Yeah.
and I definitely didn't have a problem this year, being only 2, 3 blocks from work.
Yeah, that definitely makes it easier too. Which my drives to work and back is not that bad because most of it is main roads. It's right when I go to
Yeah,
make that turn back to my neighborhood, that road gets ignored when they are plowing, and so that's when things get really tricky. And it doesn't
yeah,
help that it's a slope too, that it kind of goes up and down. So if it's icy and your tires aren't that great, you can start sliding down it. That's happened to me before.
yeah. Well, like I'm actually lucky that I moved this year over here on this side of the bridge because apparently, because I had a lady call me wanting to get a hold of someone to get a hold of her son in the plant because they were about to close the Yale County Bridge down.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I was like, wow.
So
So,
if I was still on the other side of that bridge, like I was, last year,
mhm.
yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get home, and I would have nowhere to stay on this side.
I was small part of me that first night, then when, especially when the snow, I saw how heavy the snow was actually tempted to just go to sleep in my car right there in front of the guard shack. I was like, I'm honestly tempted. If I would have brought some blankets and a pillow with me, I honestly think I would have done it. I would have just laid my seat back and just went to sleep out there. That way I wouldn't have had to drive in and out of my parking lot. So, but I was like,
Yeah,
well, let me drive down there and see how bad it is. So,
yeah, that's what I would have done this year if we were still on the other side of the bridge.
yeah.
Is I would have made sure there was some blankets and pillows in the car, and if the bridge actually closed, I'd be like, well, I guess when Kevin comes in, I'll chill with him for a few hours, and then I'll go out in the car and go sleep.
Yep. Pretty much.
But luckily, that's not the case. I can walk home if my car can't move.
I thought about it. I was like, well, I guess I really couldn't walk very well that first day because the snow had piled up so high that it
Yeah.
was really hard to walk in. I had to kind of do the whole like lift your leg all the way up to kind of step over it. And I was like, I don't think I
Yeah.
can walk in this, not for, for 4.5 miles. And I was just like, but now the second day it did descend down a little bit and it wasn't as bad that day. I probably could have walked in it that day. Probably, as long as I wouldn't have slipped and fell on my ass or anything. So
Well, I mean, if you do, at least there's snow to cushion your fall. You would have got to work pissed off, and cold, but you'd be fine.
that'd be fine, yeah. That was the problem last year when I was still walking in to work, is it iced over all over the sidewalk. So there were some parts I had to like walk on the road because the road was actually more cleared up. And then
Hmm.
on spots where the sidewalk wasn't as bad, I'd get back on the sidewalk. So, but yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad it was just like fluffy, wet snow this year. I
Yeah.
was so happy seeing it. I
Yeah, it
love
wasn't too
snow.
bad. And they were pretty well on top of it. They were already plowing it like the night it was snowing too. I was like, oh, that's good. So,
Did I tell so the day that it was snowing when I left work, and I pulled up here, onto Tyler Road. There's a plow coming up Tyler Road heading towards Main Street,
yeah.
and it was pushing just the snow that had now become it started becoming slush for people driving on it.
Hmm.
Uh, and you watch the slush, and as he drove by, the entire backside of his plow was just straight, just consistent sparks
Oh, geez.
from hitting the fucking gravel. Yeah, going across the road. Like, how the hell? On the front side is just this slush being thrown. On the backside, sparks. It's literally fire and ice.
Jeez.
Well, fire and slush.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Uh, Now we know why our roads are fucked up. No, the roads in Arkansas are fucked up because no one seems to care.
Oh, yeah. The only good parts of the road, well, I put that in quotes, good parts of the road are like the rich neighborhood areas. So, but even those look
Mm,
kind of crappy the way they design them, but they try to make them look good. They're just not good at designing roads, apparently.
apparently not.
Mm. But yeah, the other areas, yeah, they don't even try to fix them up.
Like, and not just that, the way we do streets around here, like Tyler Road curves off to the right and continues straight. It's a whole new street.
Yep.
To stay on Tyler Road, you have to turn right.
Yep.
I'm like, And anytime I ever see that in any place, I always like, what the fuck? Because the
Where it kind
street,
of, yeah,
I'm always used to like, unless a street curves into another street, like Sixth Street curves into Fifth Street,
yeah,
it actually is around the corner because it's two dead end roads.
yeah,
So instead of leaving them just dead end, they curved them onto each other. So you can just take the full Sixth Street and cover around to Fifth Street
right.
because at the end of it is a trailer park. Um, that makes sense, but I don't know what you call that little middle bit.
Purgatory?
I guess it's just the space. I guess since it's a trailer park, you just put the blah 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 trailer park.
Yeah. It's like it,
Um,
it's like if you stop right in that middle section, the satellites all start freaking out trying to figure it. Like,
yeah,
we can't figure out, like your GPS can't figure out where you are.
but like
Mm.
for a road to literally actually instead of curving right or curving left or going straight, literally is a right turn or left turn.
Yeah.
I find it weird when that's the same road because like a road can curve whichever direction, but in my mind, like if there's a like that part of Tyler Road has a stop sign to turn left onto the rest of Tyler Road to come, back up this direction. So
Yeah.
it's like that doesn't make sense to me. Like the whole thing straight through should be Tyler Road, not Tyler Road turns right, you stay straight and you become industrial. That to me is just stupidly confusing. Confusing. Maybe someone in the comment section below can explain why that's done that way, but I don't really care. I mean, I care enough to slightly bitch, but not care enough to actually look into why they do that.
Yeah.
It's one of those I don't care that much. But if someone tells me in the comments, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
Right. If someone randomly feeds you some of that information,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Like I don't care enough to look for it
Yeah.
myself,
I don't want to
but if
go out of
somebody
my way
feeds
to
it to
look for it.
me,
But if someone gives it to me, yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
Mm. So people are just going to get in the comments, just start lying to you, and you'll just believe all of it. They're like, oh,
Yep.
interesting. Yep. Because I'm not going to fact check that because I don't care. No.
Well, the thing is, if I see multiple comments that are opposing, then I will actually look into it. So I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. Now you piqued my interest to the point I want to know which one of you are fucking right. It's less about caring about why they do that, and more
Yeah.
about I'm wondering who's right now. I do that all the time. There'll be subjects that I don't really care enough to research, but somebody will like multiple people. I'll see multiple people talking about it, and I'll be like, oh, now I'm invested in seeing which one of you fuckers are wrong. I don't start the shits, but I will stir them. Like I seen a clip uh, that one of my friends sent me yesterday. Dude, because he was bored, sent flowers to his downstairs neighbor in his apartment complex.
Mhm.
It said, and that says "with love" from some random girl name that he came up with. And the neighbor that he sent him to is married, and the wife found him
Oh
first.
God.
And he's sitting there by the window, and he's like, because he starts out with, you're bored when you send random flowers to your neighbor with saying "with love" from blah 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 blah. And then he opens the window, sits out, and you can hear the wife fucking cussing and screaming at him. And he's like, "Sorry, mate, I was bored."
Now you're being tortured for my amusement. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that. Yeah,
Yeah, I would never do that unless I brought now if I like brought that person's wife in on the joke. Now that might be okay. I might be do that. So
no, okay. So I would do that as if the only time I would do that, it wouldn't be out of boredom of starting shit. It'd be about it'd be out of being petty. Like
No,
this
okay.
motherfucker, say he hit my fucking car and he's talking shit saying it's my fault, and he makes it a bitch of a time for me to pay for get the damages paid for. Oh yeah, I'm gonna stir some shit in his house,
Yeah.
or say definitely if a motherfucker kicked my dog or something, I'll fuck his life and then I'll beat his ass. Nah, I always find it funny the line from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
the Green Goblin line of a cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind. He attacks the heart.
Yeah.
And I took that villain line to heart. I took it very much to heart. So, warning for anybody who wants to irritate me. uh, I was saying there are some great villain quotes. Now that I'm thinking on it, do you have a villain quote that has ever always resonated with you?
Uh, I always liked the part in I'm a huge fan of Smith from the uh Matrix movies. He's
Yeah.
like probably my favorite movie villain of all time.
Oh
And
yeah, Agent Smith is fucking great.
and I love the line in The Matrix Reloaded where he starts to explain to Neo like why he's here and like what his purpose is, and it starts to explain basically he's making his own purpose, and he was just like and he's thanking Neo for basically freeing him from the system. But
Yeah.
now he's about to start explaining to him why he needs to get rid of him, you know. And I love where the shift just suddenly takes place. You think that he's like gonna, it's leading up to where it feels like he's about to almost shake hands with Neo and be like, "Oh, thank you. Now we can go our separate ways." It's like, but the shift just suddenly turns like, but as you know, we're not here because we're free. We're here because we're not free. And I was like, I just love that moment. It's one of my favorite movie moments and favorite lines. So
My favorite line that bit of dialogue from him was when he's talking about how humans are a virus
yeah,
in the first movie when he's got Morpheus captured.
yeah,
He's in there talking about how everything on nature coexists. Only humans uh take over and change nature to itself. It's more resemblant to a virus than an animal.
right. Because he's explaining all the different versions of the Matrix, and he's basically explaining to Morpheus that humans are always the problem on why it works or doesn't work. He's like, human beings are a virus.
Yeah,
So, and
there's
yeah,
some
yeah, definitely a good
really
line. Yeah.
great, like in the Harry Potter. One of my favorite things from Voldemort is when he sits there and goes, "Don't you turn your back on me, Harry Potter. I want you to look at me when I kill you. I want to see the light leave your eyes." I'm like, ooh, that's a villain quote. That's a villain line right there. There's some really great one line lines from villains. Or did you ever watch fuck, what is it called? Shit. I remember all the characters, and it's a comic book movie. It's got Owlman, Doctor Manhattan, uh
Hmm.
Rorschach, uh
Adventure's Log. I don't know. It doesn't ring any bells.
um Watchmen, the movie The Watchmen.
Oh, I never seen that movie.
So the guy that becomes the main villain used to be one of the heroes. I think it's Osmodius.
Hmm.
Uh, Let me double check. Yeah. So he ends up being the main villain. Spoiler for a 2009 movie, people. And when
Yeah, excuse me.
Owlman and Rorschach, I think it is, are confronting him because he's talking about that he's going to set off these nukes, and he does his whole villain speech, and they beat him thinking they're winning. He starts laughing, and he ends up telling them, like, "You idiots! I already set them off before I even done my whole spiel. What do you think I am? Some movie villain?" Like, it's fucking great. Like, they look over and yeah, he had already set off all the fucking nukes as soon as they had entered his fucking base and done this whole spiel about what he was going to do, but he had already done it. So in the end, they still fucking lost. Yeah, it's fucking great.
I always like the line from Scream too, where he says, "Movies don't make psychopaths. Movies make psychopaths more creative." I always like that line. So, mm. Of course, the line from Scary Movie where they parody that line is really hilarious too. Where they say like TV shows don't make, because she was like, "Yo, seen too many TV shows." It's like TV shows don't make psychopaths. Canceling TV shows makes psychopaths.
Yeah.
Because they were their show got canceled, so it makes it even funnier. Oh, oh, geez, my back.
I could probably fill an entire episode just talking about great
Movie,
villain
great
lines.
villain movie lines, or heck, you could even spill over to video games. There's some good lines
Yeah.
in video games too. Mm.
I mean,
What is it about writers and always giving like some of the best lines to villains?
I don't know. I mean, it just
They
makes
just love it, I
villains
guess.
just,
Yeah.
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 I mean, like Palpatine in Star Wars when he's talking to Luke makes the statement. He's like, it is unavoidable. It's your destiny. You, like your father, are now mine.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. Okay, you weird keep it in the family, motherfucker. Um, and then you had something simple like Captain Armando Salazar, I think his name is from Dead Men Tell No Tales. Has the line, "I always leave one man alive to tell the tale," and that's just
Oh,
it.
yeah, I
Just
vaguely
I
remember
always
that
leave,
line.
and it's not just the line, but the way the actor delivers it.
Yeah.
That
Sometimes
is
that's usually the
so.
part that makes the line so good is the way they say it. You know.
It's like a oh shit. I forgot who plays General Zod in the uh, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. Shit, I forgot who that is. But he has such a great like the way he delivers such great emotion and raw anger about the fact that he's sitting there talking about how, like, he's like, everything I've done was for Krypton. Like, and thing is, he means it because, like, he even makes the comment that that was the purpose that he was born to do, was to protect Krypton. Everything in him was coded by birth to protect Krypton. So when Superman destroyed, the device and everything that was going to turn Earth into the new Krypton, he's like, what do I have left now? Basically, but rage, because he failed twice at saving Krypton in his eyes. I'm like, oh, like damn. Sometimes you start feeling for the villain. It's like, mm.
Always another line that really came to my head. I also really love the Barbosa. He's probably one of my favorite from
Oh, I
Pirates
love
of the Caribbean.
Barbosa.
He's like my favorite character from all those movies, but I love him in the first one because he's actually the villain in that one. And I love the line at the end where, Jack gets himself the curse and then they're just fighting and Barbosa finally just stops in the middle of the fight. He's like, so what now, Jack? It's like an eternal fight between me and you until Judgment Day and the trumpet sounds. And Jack just responds like, or you could surrender. I love
Yeah,
that line.
I think my favorite line thing
Mm.
is he's like, "Thank you, Jack. You're welcome. Not you. We
We
named the
named the
monkey
monkey
Jack."
Jack. Yeah.
That
Yep.
actor just, I love him as
Oh yeah.
Barbosa.
Yeah,
Did you ever
that's an
watch
example of an actor making a character even better than who they are. So,
Gremlins 2?
yeah.
The smart gremlin when he's sitting there like, what does he say? He's like, now was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized. And that's just a dude working with his voice. And it's just the way they puppeted the gremlin and he just when he pronunciated things. It's like, oh, that's great. I love it. Oh yeah. Villain quotes can be very interesting. Are you there?
No, went away.
You went away. No. Well, guys, I guess it's just the Eric show now. So I'm all alone, the lonely loner.
Remember that one episode where I had to get up and I guess you didn't hear me or something when I said I was like, yeah, just give me just 1 second. I gotta get up, just keep doing it. And you were just like, "Oh, are you there?" On the recording was hilarious. Of course, I cut most of that out, but and you were like, "Oh, this is the part of the show where you hear me ramble or whatever you said," and then you just got really
I
quiet for like a really long time.
But like I ran, I all I remember is rambling for a bit and then just like, what do I do now? Like it would have been different probably if I had heard you and that I would have just kept come up with stuff and I'm like, what's going on? Do I just
Yeah.
continue or what am I supposed to do here? I don't know what's going on in his
Oh,
end.
jeez.
Like I actually kept periodically checking my phone to make sure you didn't text me saying something was going on your end.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the side effect of not having a recording studio where we're both at.
Yep.
One of these days, people, if y'all, do the whole liking us and spreading us around and getting us views and subscribers and we become rich, want to get a nice
Rich. Huh?
recording studio for
That's your
y'all.
plan, how to become rich.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, totally. It's not like I'm doing this for fun while I got the company being created, doing voice acting jobs, writing a book, and something will kick off, hopefully, right?
Something's got to kick off somewhere.
Something's gotta give.
I have so many projects. Something has to work out here.
Like something has to lend me into financial success so I don't have to work ever again in my life at a normal job. Oh shit. Well, you got anything else in this episode?
In this episode.
In this episode?
Oh gosh.
You good?
Yeah, just I don't know. I don't think I've ever been sick this, well, maybe I have, I don't know. I don't remember ever being sick this long before. This sickness is just taking forever to
I am
go
so
away.
glad mine only lasted like 4 days.
Yeah, I wish mine would have lasted 4 days. That'd have been
Like
better.
I can still feel like the remnants of it, like my sinuses and stuff, still hurt from all the congestion.
Yeah.
And like I had that like every once in a while. I'm only like I can only like half breathe through my nose,
Yeah.
whereas I only partially open because it's just. But I am
Funny enough,
glad
I
I
actually
am.
haven't had any trouble breathing, which is surprising because I've been so congested and draining so much. But even at night when I'm asleep, I have no problems breathing through my nose, and it hasn't been an issue at all, surprisingly.
Oh, aren't you a lucky motherfucker?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call myself lucky. It's taking forever
It's like, yes, I can breathe, but it won't go away.
to. Yeah, it's mostly this cough I can't seem to get rid of.
Huh? Do you have any cough drops?
No, I don't have any cough drops.
Uh, I always have cough drops at the house
Well, good for you. Won't you
because
brag about your cough drops?
I will because I'm
Yeah.
actually smart apparently.
Uh,
I even though I don't get sick very often, I know once if I do actually get sick, it's fucking horrible. So I make sure I have everything possible.
I used to always keep NyQuil around my house. That way, if I ever got sick, I could just at least, even if it didn't get rid of the symptoms and stuff, it would at least knock me out. Like, oh, I'm putting myself to sleep. I don't want to experience this anymore.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't have any, and by the time I kind of thought, well, I guess I could go to the store to get some. By then, it was already snowing that day, and I was just like, well,
Well,
plus,
fuck.
yeah. So the day it was the worst was the day I broke out in fever. That I think it was last Saturday was when that happened. I got a really bad fever that just uh oh God, I was so uncomfortable. It was just like I couldn't decide if I was hot or cold. I had the covers on me because I would get the shivers, and then I would kick them back off me because then I felt like I was a million degrees, and then geez, it was horrible. And I couldn't really go to the store then because I was so miserable. So and finally, like I said, then that I was like, well, I guess I could go to the store now. But then, like I said, that was the day it started snowing. So I was
Yeah,
like, well, now I can't really go. So
I love how we recorded the podcast and then like we were talking all nice and normal, and then Monday comes around, you come into work and you're like, I
yeah.
can't talk.
I remember in the last episode I mentioned that I was getting a bad cough. That's all I had though at that time. I was like, yeah, I
Mm.
had this cough for some reason I can't get rid of. And then it was like about 4 or 5 hours after we did the podcast was when I started getting a fever. And then during the fever was on when all the congestion kicked in. And I was like, oh my God. So apparently I was slowly getting something and didn't realize it. So
Apparently, we got the podcast the right time.
pretty much, yeah. If literally if it would have come like a few hours earlier, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So
Let alone start getting sick during the recording.
yeah. Oh God.
Can you imagine being in the middle of recording and just you start feeling like shit and you start burning up with a fever. And like, damn, I need to finish my fucking side job. What the fuck?
Like toward the end, it's like I don't feel so well all of a sudden. I think I'm good. We need to stop this. I gotta go lay down. That's what essentially told my son after I was sitting there watching YouTube and stuff after we did the podcast. And I told him, I was like, I don't feel so good all of a sudden. I think I'm gonna go lay down. And then while I was laying down was when it happened. So
Damn.
yep. But luckily I only had a fever that one day. Ever since then, it's just been sneezing, coughing, congestion. So
Yeah, you got sick around the same time my wife got sick, and then I started slowly this week getting congestion, and didn't get a fever, but I had a slight cough and some congestion.
yeah.
It was like I said, I don't really get sick. I'll get
This
like
is
certain little things like congestion or that, but like as far as actually having a fever and stuff, I don't typically get that bad sick. But when I do, I'm like running so high of a fever, my eyes are burning.
oh geez. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how high my fever got. It felt my eyes didn't felt fine, but my brain felt like it was about to explode inside of my skull because I felt so much pressure and so much heat. I was like, oh my God.
man. Last time I had a fever like that, I was stuck in bed with a cold rag over my eyes and my forehead
Yeah.
because I had such a fever. It was 110, 112,
Oh my God, that's a
112.
really high fever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fevers. When
Yeah.
I do get sick, my body's like, "Oh my God, no, kill it now, activate the
It
nukes,
goes over a little
launch,
too.
launch, launch."
I don't know what my temperature was. I didn't have a thermometer to uh, test it, so I have no idea. But it had to be pretty high. I don't know how high, but it felt like it was really high. So
The thing is, like on a natural day, I can hit 100 degrees.
yeah.
I'm just always warm. But my body, and that's probably why I don't get sick a lot, is my body's naturally warm like that.
Yeah.
And I guess I have a good immune system. But when something does hit my immune system and breaks through, there is no, let's just ease into this and just take care of the problem. It's just fuck this, launch the nukes, we're done. You have breached the lines, you have requested death. Even if we go down with you, we will take you out.
This is actually
My
probably one of the first few times in my adult life I've actually admitted that I was sick too. It was a couple of years ago for the first time in my life I actually admitted when I was sick because when I used to be a Christian, I actually never, when I got sick, I would never admit it because to me that was like giving in to what was happening to you. For some reason in my head,
uh,
I felt like you were supposed to like deny your sickness and it would like help it go away or something. Feel like you were supposed to be like, oh, anytime, and I would actually get upset anytime someone would call me out on my sickness. They'd be like, oh, you sound like you're getting sick. Are you feeling all right? Like, I'm not sick. What do you mean sick? I'm not sick. I would get like physically upset about it. But
uh,
yeah, like a few years ago, that was the first time in my life I called in sick and I admitted for the first time that I was sick. I was like, oh yeah. It actually was so bad. There was many days I wouldn't even call in on days I was sick. I would call in on other days, but I wouldn't call in on days I was sick because to me that was like admitting that you were sick.
uh,
Yeah, I was crazy.
crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a river room with rats. Rats make me crazy. I had a friend on Xbox. You could not say crazy around her because she would do that fucking line for at least 2 fucking minutes.
It's like whatever you do, don't mention the word crazy around here. Yeah.
And it got so bad, like at one point in tandem, we had like three of us doing it. And I'm like, I just want to die.
No, excuse
I have
me.
left parties and then rejoined like a minute later just to avoid that. I'm the type of person I'm like, I want to, somebody will say something, I'm hanging up on you, and I will hang up, and then I'll just call them right back.
I
I'll always call back, but I will hang up on your ass.
don't think I've ever hanged up on anybody like in that way before. I don't, or if I did, I don't remember doing it. So, mm.
I mean, I've hung up on people that was like, I'm just fucking done with you today. I'm done. Fuck off. And wouldn't talk to them until the next day. And there's other people I'm like, no, no. And they call back. You can continue doing that, or I'm just gonna be done with this conversation for good.
Jeez. Mm.
Certain conversations I just won't have, or I don't ever like a lot of that's come from like there's one person that used to be my friend, and they would only call me to bitch and moan about the current person they're with.
Oh yeah, I had a friend like that in high school.
All they would do is call me, hey, blah, 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 or call me, oh, works, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look, I don't fucking care that much. It was fine. Like, I was like, early in our friendship, yeah. At this point, you just fucking bitch. I'm done.
I don't mind listening to someone vent about something, but yeah, I agree. I hate it when they vent about the same thing over and over again, especially when you already realize what the solution is. You're like, well,
Yeah.
if you would just do this, that you probably, but they won't do that. They just want to keep doing it and then complaining about it. So,
Well, like,
mhm.
yeah, because like as a friend, like come to me and bitch and complain and vent all day long. I don't care.
Yeah,
But if that's all you call me for,
yeah, and that's the way this friend was too.
and it's the same thing or similar things that you could easily avoid it, or because we already talked about it with like five fucking problems ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be the asshole today. Bye.
I remember there was one time with him. I had just got a new game on my PS2, and I was like, I can't even remember what game it was, but I was really addicted to it. And I had saw that he had called me a couple of times in the past couple of days, but I was ignoring his calls because I just wanted to play my game, and I didn't really feel like hearing him complain about his relationship. And little did I know that apparently they actually broke up, and he wanted to call and complain about the breakup. And I finally called him back. I think it was that third day. I finally called him back, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, sorry I hadn't been answering. I got this new game and stuff like that." He was like, "You hadn't been answering to anyone the past," and he started like yelling at me. I was like, "What the fuck, dude? Calm down." He was like
Chill,
on the
bro.
verge of like
Chill.
crying over the phone, and he told me what happened. I was like, "All right, calm down. Just tell me the whole story." And he told me. I was like, "Oh, okay." Drama,
Uh,
drama, drama.
what also pisses me off the most about some of those people like that is you'll be like, well, you know what? We talk all the time about their problems and stuff, and I have an issue. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna call them because they know, they've been through this. We've talked and just a bit, and they will be like, oh yeah, hey, sorry, I got another call, or they and now's not a good time, and they'll do it every fucking time. Like, oh, so you can vent to me and take up hours upon hours of my fucking time. But a turnaround's not fair game. Go fuck yourself.
Nope.
I have ended friendships over less.
Mm. Uh, I've never ended a friendship over something like that, but
Oh, I will. Like, if it's to the point where all it's doing is tearing my shit down, my life, and you're not doing anything to make your life better, yeah, done.
I've actually only ended one friendship directly, where to the point where it felt like a breakup, essentially. Uh, that's the only time I've ever done that. Any other friends that I used to have that I'm not really friends with anymore, it kind of just happens slowly, unintentionally, where you just kind of drift apart and you don't talk much
Yeah.
anymore. But that was the only time in high school I actually purposely, basically told this guy to go screw himself because he was being a jerk, and I stopped being friends with him the rest of school, and still haven't talked to him since. So I actually don't even know where he is now. So
I've ended friendships.
yeah, that's the
Like,
only time I've ever done that. Though. So,
there's times like when a friend I had, they started hanging out with these other people, and they started acting complete and total dicks. And I'm like, look, dude, I don't give a fuck who else you hang out with. But if you want to come at me fucking sideways and acting like them, nope. I'll just beat your ass right here and now, and just we'll never be friends again. Fuck off. And I just left it. Man,
oh yeah,
I
I flat out told this guy I didn't want to be friends with him anymore. I'm like, I am not. I kind of did the whole rally thing in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the way he talks to Greg. He's like, "Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done." I kind of more or less. That's kind of basically what I told him. So
Yeah, you went the more dramatic route. I just
yeah,
look, dude. I don't like how you are.
yeah.
You're just fucking my life up now. We're done, and just leave it at that. Now, if they press the matter, it's a different story. But typically, I just end it and walk the fuck away. And I mean, that's how I was with my actual relationships too. When like I wouldn't get pissy or anything. Like, a couple of my exes had cheated on me. And I let them, if that, find proof. I'm like, look, you did this, you fucked up, we're done.
Actually, all
Just,
my relationships ended pretty well for the most part. I stayed friends with all the people I dated. So that
I
that
think
friendship was actually more of a bitter breakup than all my relationships were, which is weird.
yeah, I think I only had like three girls that I used to date that I could still be friends with.
Yeah.
And that's because our breakups were, so one of them we was a mutual breakup. That's because we were really good friends before we dated, and we felt like too much like brother and sister, and it kind of made the dating aspect awkward. So we were like, yeah, no, we can't do this. It was fun for the couple weeks we did, but nah, we'll just stay like brother and sister. And I'm the godfather to her, her kids today. Um, the other one, she dumped me, and we didn't talk for a while, and then we just randomly started talking and just been friends, started being friends again. And the third one, kind of avoid her, but if we come in contact, we're still friendly,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And that's because me and her dated off and on 7 times.
Jeez.
And that's
I think I feel like the third
she's
time
the
you might realize, hey, maybe we're not meant to be together.
she's the one that caused me to leave to have the more once we're done kind of attitude for most things.
Yeah.
I was like, I used up all the energy and time on chances from this one person. I don't have enough for the rest of the world. Uh,
Mm.
and thing is, the only reason we split up so much, and looking back, it kind of makes me laugh. It's just because the first like 4 to 5 times, is because she couldn't decide if she was straight, bisexual, or lesbian.
Oh yeah, I could,
She
yeah,
was
she was
having
going.
such a identity crisis and sexuality
Yeah, that can
that
happen.
it kept ending the relationship. I'm like,
Yeah. At that point, after a couple of breakups, I would have been like, okay, you need to figure out who you are before you start dating somebody.
yeah.
That would have been what I would have done.
And
So
then the last couple breakups were because of situations that I'm not getting into. Like if it was literally just her having the identity crisis thing, I would probably never try to avoid her just because she actually was cool. We actually had it. We were good in the relationship until we weren't.
yeah,
And those, in those 5 breakups were, to me bad. I'm like, okay, figure out your thing. And once you decide if you want to come back to me, just come back.
yeah.
And she did that 5 times. After like the fifth time, I'm like, look, you're bisexual. You have been with me and another guy and multiple women and a couple other women. You are definitively bisexual. You like guys and girls. Just accept you like both. It's fine to like both. You don't have to like one over the other. You can like both.
Yeah. And you
And
can
she's
prefer
like,
one or the other over the other too. So
yeah, like just you like both. But now last time I knew she was with a guy and had a kid with him. So I mean, uh,
yeah, I guess you finally got it figured out. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I don't know if they're still together and if she's just straight dickly or if she's still middle of the path. But she's also the one that I had the three-way relationship with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of the eh, times. Uh, that's interesting. Like, I don't know how poly people can maintain their thriples or more.
Yeah, I've tried so I mean, I get it, everybody's different, you do you, but I've tried so many times to picture that scenario, putting myself in the shoes of that, and I'm like, I guess I must just not be that kind of person because I could never do that. So
Like I've been in the throuple, of course, with the ex I was just talking about, and another ex. Which thing is, both those exes are I can are the ones that I'm neutrally split with. Like our split up, it wasn't so bad that I would never talk to him again. Those two are make up two of the three that I'm still okay with talking to, which is fucking hilarious. Yeah, high school drama, love
oh
it.
yeah. Drama,
Ah,
drama, drama.
anyways, but I have a buddy of mine that I talk to every fucking day. How me and him talk to each other for almost 3 hours this morning. He's in a throuple and it's a fucking loving relationship. It's great. They all take good care of each other, and I'm like, but I don't know if my mind can manage it at this point in my life. Like,
My
I barely
problem
done it as a high schooler. I don't know if I could do it as an adult. Because like in high school, we were all three just constantly hanging out with each other. It was kind of more like, yeah, we done
like a
the
almost
the
like a friend group, but relationship.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah and but because like to me, high school dating was never that serious. Yeah, we did serious things, but we
Yeah.
weren't.
About
We
as
all knew,
serious as a high school relationship could be. Yeah.
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 Especially since luckily I didn't knock up either of them or both of them. Yeah, that'd been an interesting life to think about. Um, but as an adult, wanting an actual serious relationship, because legally I can only marry one of them.
Yeah.
So if any of us wanted to do the marriage thing, who's going to be the one getting married?
Right.
Are the girls going to get married to each other? Am I going to get married to one of the girls?
My problem would be if I was in a relationship like that is if there was ever even if it was just a short period of time where the other two people were hanging out just a little bit more often than they were hanging out with me, uh,
You feel a
I
little
my
jealous?
mind would immediately go to work and be like, oh well, what's wrong with me?
Yeah,
And be like, I guess I'm not as interesting, or whatever my mind would go to. But I also
yeah.
don't like confrontation either, so I wouldn't say anything. I would just think it, and it would eventually create problems. So yeah, it just would never work for me.
Because I love seeing these different types of relationships that, and when they actually work, I fucking love it.
Yeah,
I love seeing people with with triples and polys and you
yeah,
know homosexual or heterosexual relationships, whatever it may be, the combination. I love watching good relationships.
yeah,
Like, great, yes, finally, that's what we need more of. Good relationships with each other,
yeah.
whether it be friendships, coupling in any version. Hell, I know two people that I know that are been friends with benefits for fucking years, and I mean, honestly, we keep telling them they might as well just date at this point the way they act with each other, but they don't want to date. They don't
Right.
ever have an actual
They like being
relationship.
friends with benefits. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and it's great, and but we love it for them. But
yeah.
we will always make the joke. Why don't y'all just fucking marry at this point? They live together. They sleep in separate rooms.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't think I could ever I mean, I've been in a friends with benefits before, but I don't think I could ever go quite that far with it or that long with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Eventually, something would need, for me on my end anyway, eventually something would need to come out of it, or it would just need to come to an end, one or the other. So,
Well,
would
I
have
mean,
to
they
happen.
still get something out of it. They get great sex
I
apparently with
meant
each
like it would
other.
have to go further into it. Like it would have to eventually become a relationship for me beyond just
Yeah. Well,
friends with benefits.
it
So,
works probably for them because neither of them actually want a true blown relationship.
yeah,
They
that would be
want
my
they
problem with it.
want
But I could do
the
that for a while though. So
they want the feel of a relationship without a relationship.
yeah,
So like that's how it works for them. They both pay their bills, and when they want to they have fun with each other, or like they have no problems if the other invites someone different over to have fun with. I mean,
yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. When stuff like that, the random shit that you grew up hearing that never people talk about never works. That's not how humans should be. Just to see it working and flourishing so well, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I have no problem with that. Yeah, no judgment for me. If you can get that to work, I think that's great. I will, if something works, I will never judge that. Yeah. But just, yeah, for me, that wouldn't work too well. I would, like I said, I could do friends with benefits for a while, but if it got to the point where I was living with the person and we were sleeping in separate rooms and we're still like in that mode, I would just be like, okay, something's gonna have to happen. We're either gonna just be friends and roommates, or we're gonna have to be in a relationship because like I can't be in this limbo state any longer than this. That would be me though. But hey, if you can get that to work, yeah, no judgment for me for sure. So I would never be that kind of person to like say, "Oh, you're just pretending to make it work." That doesn't really work that way. Like, no, no, I have no problem with that. So,
Yeah, like honestly, I could do the type of relationship they're in because, like, to me, I'm very much I can do with or without other human interactions
yeah,
very easily. I could very easily become a fucking hermit and not give a fuck. Uh, and I could very much easily just have a relationship that's nothing but sex. Like, as long as we get along and can hang out every once in a while, I'm good. Like, I mean, also, you're not a one night stander kind of person, so I mean, that kind of sex relationships aren't.
I don't really know if I am. I've never tried that, so. I've always entertained it in my head, and I'm like, well, it sounds fun, but would I actually enjoy it if I actually did it? I don't know. So,
Yeah, honestly, you missed out on the right time era to be a one night stander.
yeah.
Because
Well,
in
I was
this,
married in my youth, so I didn't do any of that stuff. So, and plus I was
well,
extremely religious, so
what I mean by that is like nowadays it's kind of not safe to be a one night stander.
not safe.
Yeah, because there's so much weird shit. It's weird because like some things I'm hearing like, oh, kids and young adults nowadays all they want is meaningless sex and move on. But then on the same breath, you hear about all these people claiming all this shit against someone just for after a one night stand, and it's like,
Oh, I got you. I got you. Yeah.
And but also at the same time, it's not. It's a weird day and age we live in when it comes to relationships
Yeah.
because like it's also not like the best for an actual relationship dating scene either
Yeah.
because there are the people that just are just the one nighters and move on. But being a one nighter and moving on also has all these risks now added to it.
I think it would be easier for me to probably be in a kind of like what you described earlier, like just sex only. Like I would only see this person when I wanted to have sex. Like I wouldn't
Yeah,
actually be friends with this person. That would actually be easier
that's
for me
that's
to be
a
friends
booty
with them.
call. That's a booty caller.
Yeah, like you call that person up or text them or whatever when you want, sex,
Like,
basically. That would be
hey,
easier to
I
me.
want that booty.
Yeah.
You good tonight? You good for the
As
night?
long as the other person was okay with it too. And I would everything I could do on my end, try to make sure of that. Obviously, if they were lying to me, then I wouldn't know. So, but I would try my best to make sure that they
Well,
were
that's why
okay
I'm
with
the
it too.
smart person, and I always get them to text me that that's what they want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could lie in a text too, but
Well, no, because here's the thing: I can screenshot that text, and if they ever try to say,
oh,
this
I
ain't what they
got you. I
really
got you.
wanted, I'm
No,
like,
that's not
well,
what I mean. I don't mean like if they turned on me later. I would just be like, I would just feel bad if I found out all that time that they really wanted more or they decided they didn't want that, but they were still continuing to do that. I would feel bad. I'm like, oh, no, I feel bad. So,
yeah. I mean, if
yeah,
somebody told me they wanted more, I'd be like, well, let's go up to the next stage to friends with benefits, and we'll
yeah,
see from there. I'm all fine with moving in stages.
Yeah,
If the other person, I'm like, well, okay, you know what? We've had really good sex. We've had some great pillow talk. I can see us trying to be friends with benefits first,
yeah.
and then maybe going into a relationship if the friend part does very well.
Oh man. Well, I
I
have
am
no
very
idea
much
how
a
we got on
steps
all
guy.
this, but
Well, we got into it because we got into it. It's just how it goes
yeah,
with
pretty
us.
much. Yeah. But that's about all the
Um,
time we got for this episode, though. So,
yeah. Comment down below your favorite villain line, your favorite
booty call.
you, you what kind of relationship could you do them that you would prefer to do, and which one would you least likely do?
Yeah.
And of course, again, comment, like, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Spotify. Download his game,
Yay.
and have a good fucking week. Bye.